Coming up in this episode of the Ktdata Anime Podcast, it's time to meet another dad.
Where does all the pudding go?
And it's time to start a new quest. Become the king of the world of Disboard. All that more coming up in 3, 2, 1. It's time for the Ktdata Anime Podcast with Dito and Ktdata. The Ktdata Anime Podcast is brought to you by binge watching, a perfect way to spend a Saturday. Go mass watch a show today. Hey everybody, welcome to the Ktdata Anime Podcast. I am Ktdata.
And I am Dito.
And this is the podcast where Dito and I get together and talk about things and stuff in anime and pretend like we know what we're talking about.
And then we have Sparky trying to kill us.
Yeah. How are you doing? How are you doing today, Dito? I haven't seen you in quite a while.
Probably for the best, and we'll just leave it at that.
Come on, sun's finally out. It's finally getting warm. There's no more rain.
Actually, we should be receiving rain this weekend, but
thanks for being a damper, man. All right, if you guys,
because I washed my car.
If you guys have not seen the Ktdata Anime Podcast before, first, welcome to the first episode of the Spring 24 season. Woo! We're starting 2 brand new animes, and some of you are like, wait a minute, where do I go watch all these animes? So just hit pause, head on over to ktdata.net, look for episode 1 of the Ktdata Anime Podcast, Spring 2014 season, of course, and click in the show notes. Bam, places to stream all of them for free and legally, too. So that makes gives you some feel-goods, right?
Feel goods, you know, it's not the feels that want to turn down and feel and cry. It's the feels that make you feel good. Okay, I just hyperventilate on that.
All right, so let's jump into our first anime, which is not a new one. It's from continuing on from our winter season, but we love it all the same.
さらに凄まじい苦労の連続となる。
And our first anime of the night is Nisekoi, and it's brought to you by First Impressions. It's a little bit better when your dad doesn't initiate it.
It's just a little.
Yeah. So now we finally have the complete harem. We thought this anime would have been over by now. Never trust your dad drinking with buddies, and leave it to your best friend to make things more awkward. Dun, dun, dun.
Why not? But where should we even get started on this?
All right.
A lot has happened.
So instead of having the series end at 13 or 14 like a normal anime does, we are still going on. And they've introduced another girl. Her name is Marie. And she just happens to be, yet again, 10 years ago. Man, Ichijo was busy 10 years ago. I mean, like, for like a 5-year-old?
It was literally six. But it was just this summer. I mean, this is like the golden age summer for that every teenager ever dreamed of. It's like, you know, you get just like one hookup up after another itself, and like Ichijo just had it. Like that was his summer, and he forgot all about it.
We should just have like another anime series that just shows you what he does every summer, because I think that would be interesting.
I know what you did last summer.
Dun, dun, dun. So we find out that Marie was promised to become wed.
Mari?
Yeah. Marika is her full name.
Yeah, but Mari.
That she's supposed to get, they were promised to be married at a very young age, thanks to 2 drinking dads. Always good to have a Yakuza boss and a police chief talking to each other, right?
Not quite. It was all because Ichijo decided that, I'm going to climb a tree, see a girl that is obviously not well itself, and then start like every day going and playing with her, which, you know, tends to bring out the, what do you like in a girl? Well, I like to be very ladylike, long hair, and here's a bunch of bugs and sticks and twigs I collect in the forest.
Well, what worries me, though, is if he was such a pimp at that age, how come he's such a, like, idiot now?
I think it's to deal with the fact alone that the one...
Did he use all his mojo when he was young?
Yes, but it comes down to this too. It's like at the age of 6, how many of us were actually interested in girls enough to actually have a preference? I wasn't, It's like at 6, I'm just sitting there like I didn't care. I was like, where's the next?
Where's the cookies
day?
at, Mom?
Yeah, where's the cookies? Where's my cartoons? And like dreading to go to school.
So it's always interesting to meet the dad in real life and in anime form, especially when the dad's the police chief.
And you would think police chief, upstanding citizen, not really, someone who can easily come up to like any police officer, right? You could walk up to any police officer and ask him a question, right?
Yeah, he's not going to try and interrogate you or anything.
No, in theory.
No. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how many of you guys out there want to go meet the dad of your significant other and not like worry that you're just going to totally blow it and they're going to be like, never again.
Well, considering the fact alone that Ichijo's father is Yakuza.
And his dad knows he's Yakuza too.
Yeah, that's the worst part. His dad knows. Her dad knows that he's Yakuza's son. Then you have Chikoge. I can never say it correctly. Chikoge's... Chikoge. When I say it right,
everything used to know.
Gochie. But she's also the daughter of a Yakuza lord that just recently moved to town. And now we have the police commissioner's daughter mixed up in this as well. And you're going to meet him, and turns out that, his Ichijo's dad gave him a scar, and somehow that kind of sparked the we are now drinking buddies. I don't know how that happened, but
they had a common bond even though they were on opposite sides.
I know. So now
I bet you there was. Do you think there was some karaoke involved? There probably was karaoke involved.
There's definitely karaoke involved because it's like drinking buddies, and then he still wants to put him away. Still wants to arrest him and put him away. I'm sitting there going, then what happens to your drinking buddy? Yeah, there's a fine line where it's like, I enjoy drinking with you, but I hate your guts. But I can't not have you as a drinking buddy. But I want to put you away because it's my job. There's a nice little balance that they have to kind of waver on, and what is really worth it.
Yeah, I like how you put on here that Marika's aggressive. I'm just saying she's just sly. She knows carpe diem, seize the opportunity when she has it. Anytime possible.
I was mostly referring to her aggressiveness to how when Raku is sitting out there talking with her and it's going, wait a minute, are you? And then she just kind of gets really aggressive with them too, kisses him on the cheek and all this stuff.
No, that's just seizing the opportunity. He left himself open. He should have stayed guarded more.
Yeah,
he's too stupid to stay guarded.
Maybe it's a nice combination of being aggressive and sly, because when she gets talking with her dad about Raku, oh, he forgot me. Oh, he has a girlfriend. It's just keeps on going, and then she just leaves. Oh, I'm gonna make some tea. It's oh man, you are just
I just can see her as the type of stereotypes where tough guys don't look at explosions. It'd be her. She's walking away, put on some sunglasses, explosions going off behind her. She's yeah.
And Spark, you want to correct me in saying that Chikoge's father is American Mafia. Yes, that is technically true, but calling him a Yakuza is not far off either, because that kind of means the same thing. But anyways, yes, American Mafia if you want to get technical.
And then it gets interesting because Kirasaki's Raku actually calls Kirasaki out on this and why your acting seems to have kind of jumped fold. You seem to be acting the jealous girlfriend type on there. She's like, no, I haven't. I'm just, got to keep up with the Joneses.
What if we find out that you have a fiance now that is not really fiance, but kind of promised to, because drinking fathers? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's always interesting. And then finally, I love this, that I can never tell time in this show because it just moves on, and randomly they're like, oh, summer vacation's coming up. And, Onodera's like, oh, man, I'm not going to see Raku. What I'm going to do? And then Raku's like, oh, I'm not going to see her. There's no reason to see each other right now because school's over and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, Onodera in a time of crisis, run towards Raku on the last day of school. And he's like, what? And she's like, will you work a part-time job for me?
Yeah, she does the wubs.
And then,
wub, 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 wub.
and so, of course, Raku in his nice guy attitude's always like, oh, sure, I'll do this.
Nice guy
not?
attitude. He is completely whipped by Onodera. We all know this. Like, she cracks a whip, he'll be down like a dog begging. You know it's true.
I wouldn't even say whipped because I don't think she realizes she has the power.
No, she doesn't. But then when she asks something like this, because she's very timid, very shy, and when she's like, it took her a lot just to say, can you come work at my family's sweet shop? And he was just like, whoosh. You saw that. You saw him. He's just like big grin, halo, a rainbow halo above him, just spraying happiness from his shoulders, like coming out of his neck, like that. That's not saying whipped. But anyways,
and I love it. Best spit take in the show so far.
Well, then there's on that too itself. You have the best. That's probably the best way to surprise your wingman. It's like, oh, you haven't made no progress. I'm gonna scold you. Blah blah. It's like, oh, by the way, he's coming to my house tomorrow. What?
So that's always great on there. And of course, when you show up, nothing like a mom who is like, what are you doing here, you student? I don't want your nonsense kind in there. And Onodera just runs out, mom, no, this is a part-timer. And she's like, what? And
it's very nice to have like that skeptic in there, because it's like you have a high school student that says they can cook and all this stuff too. So then it's like, what's the best way to test them but to make some sweets?
Yeah. And the funny thing is that I guess Onodera, she knows how to make, well, she knows the process of making these sweets, but when it comes to practice, she's garbage at it.
Not just garbage. We say toxic.
Yeah, health inspector was involved in like 3 days downtime, and yeah, you don't want to be one of those guys who had one of the desserts.
Yeah, so you get Raku in the mix too, making sweets. You have Onodera's mom trying it out too. And what's the first thing you would ever expect? Like, you're coming to the girl you have a crush on's house to impress her mom with making sweets so that you can do part-time work in there itself. And what kind of reaction would you get after you do these test sweets?
Yeah, first of all, I gotta say, I think the animation department started running out of money because I could not tell what he made at all. It's like, let's just slather some random color into a glob and then put some dots on it. Call it good.
Actually, that's like a rice cake.
That didn't look like rice to me.
Of course not, but but the fact alone that it was glimmering and shining and rainbows all over itself, it's like the
yeah, I think they spent more money on the rainbow and stuff around it than the actual food on there. But the mom has it, and she's like, "Oh my god, you need to marry this boy." And like,
would you like to marry into this family? It's so blunt. It's like Onodera's mom is a completely just blunt girl, and it's actually quite hilarious.
It's awesome. And I was just like, man, Onodera, she goes from being reluctant and trying to almost be too late to the situation to going from, oh, will you work at my family's restaurant, to, oh, you're gonna marry me, and then, oh, to the room. And then, so
because typhoon, it's just a random typhoon just happens to come upon like Tokyo, or it comes upon Japan with no prior warning.
Yeah, so I don't live in Japan, so I can't say how often typhoons happen in Japan on there, but you think you would know when this large storm body is headed towards your little island, right?
I know, and on top of that too, it's like, all right, so from prior events sitting there, like we'll say like Florida and everything itself, they usually have up to almost a 2-day advance when they at least 2 days advance. Within a week they know about a typhoon or any kind of big storm coming into an area and whether it's going to actually be on course or not. This one was like hours.
Yeah, and I liked how it went from, oh, so what should we do now? Oh, I guess we should get food. What should we get food? Like, I don't know. Let's go discuss it in my room.
Of all things, so you have two teenagers, obviously very
Them
dense
hormones
about
are
them.
running.
Yeah, their hormones are running. They don't know it. I was just like, hey, let's go to my room. What did I just say? Sure. What I just agree to?
Yeah. So Onodera runs off, puts on a nice little dress, and hides all her porn on there badly too. Who just like turns over a picture frame when people come over.
I know. It's like if you're trying to hide. I know. Well, it's like if anything too. That wouldn't you just like put it in your bookshelf or something like that? You know, it's like in my case, it's like right there somewhere.
Yeah. so or in Rev's case, hide it in my favorite Bible verses on there. So Dito, what happens when you get that awkward situation where you want to talk with someone and it's just dead silent because nobody knows what to say and they don't want to make it weird?
How about the Mets? Wrong?
You don't watch sports.
I know. I think the best thing to do, especially for their case, is to high school students, why not bring up old memories of junior high?
I think we should do this in real life next time. Next time we run out, we don't have a topic to talk about. We should just pull out our middle school, junior high, depending on where you are, yearbooks and have discussions on that, right?
You know,
do that?
the funny thing is that I don't even know where mine are.
I know where mine are.
That's probably because your mom still like puts them in.
Nope, I know where they are because there's a large stack of yearbooks from high school too.
I still have my senior yearbook, and that's sitting with my my cap. And
I actually can tell you where they are. They're actually sitting on a very large stack of original Run Shonen Jump magazines.
Oh God, you know your Asian win.
When you subscribe to Shonen Jump.
No, when you have a stack of them and your yearbooks are on top of that.
I read them from time to time, but they take up a lot of space on there. So yeah, they start going back there, and we discover that Onodera and Raku have this awesome ability that I wish I had, Dito.
Laser vision?
That would be cool too, actually.
The ability to fly?
Are you just telling me I should be Superman?
No, because you're not built for it, and
You've seen Captain America. There are serums.
He's in serum.
But we find out that both of these guys know how to do the perfect photobomb. I wouldn't be surprised if they showed up in our video somewhere too. They're just that good.
They do because they're edited in. I swear, I call Photoshop on a lot of those.
No, I don't. Those are natural frames in the video that I pick. Like they just know how to show up. It's crazy.
I call Photoshop.
And then
on those photo bombs, not in our stuff. I know that's natural, but in here,
I call Photoshop. The yearbook they photoshopped him in just because they were like the two students that were always left out in school activities.
Yeah, there's like some person out there just like going, oh, those poor kids. Let's just put them in these photos randomly.
Yeah. All right. So at the end of this episode, something big happens, and I don't know if we're getting old, Dito. We might be getting old, but the highlight of this whole event is that both of them got each other's email address.
Not just that, too. It took them 2 years.
Yeah, that's a little weird. I can get Sparky's email address sooner than that if I tried. I'd just rather have the physical Sparky on there. And so,
I can say it.
So are we getting old? Because as far as I remember, it used to be getting a girl's phone number was exciting, but now just getting an email address is like da 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 da.
No, I think that's just them. Because you're talking about a group of people that have selective memory loss because they all know about this promise, what the promise actually consists of, but when they're actually like talking about it, it just says no. I don't know.
Ah, man. So
how do you turn a key without breaking it? Obviously,
this is obviously difficult to do.
Yeah.
All right, let's go on to a brand new anime that we have, and there is no selective memory loss.
And you've been denied too.
私は龍河城77
And our next anime is Rigajo Nana no Maizokun, and it's brought to you by
God's Territory. Sometimes it's worth the risk. So this is one of our new shows, and it takes place on an island called Nane, which is a man-made island in the Pacific Ocean that is well known for its special student zone. And, well, essentially itself, it's like a specialized island that is dedicated mostly for students, so that has an elementary through college.
School Central.
Yay! It sounds a lot like a the two auto series.
Doesn't sound cheap.
No, actually, it sounds kind of nice because they have like the latest technology, latest stuff they're usually like the leading edge for just like new forms of like medical like ways of teaching, etc. stuff. It's like this is where all kind of gets developed at first before it goes out anywhere else.
Yeah, that means it doesn't sound like it's cheap to live there, right?
Oh no, it sounds like really expensive unless you are Yamajugo, who is a runaway / being disowned teenager for who knows why, because they have never really explained exactly what he's running away from.
We'll find
and
out.
You can get an apartment for 5,000 yen, which is equivalent to $50 a month, but you have to pay within a year, and you have to pay the whole year in advance. So that's about $600.
All sales are final.
And all sales are final, and you can't get back. But there's a hidden clause in this.
So no, it's not hidden. It comes with amenities and extras.
Yeah, but it's a small hidden clause in that where under extras that they didn't really say much about, but at the same time too, why not find out for yourself?
So imagine this, Dito. You're like, yes, I'm on this new island. It's the future. I'm the future. I got the sweet deal on this apartment. Landlady's pretty cute. I'm good with that. She drinks a little bit much, but oh well. All right.
Details.
So let's go check out this room that I got for steal, okay? You open it up. The little entrance area. Looks clean and everything, right? Then you open the door to the main room. Dun, dun, dun. There's a girl eating pudding there. What do you do?
Run back out and ask WTF.
And then the landlady tells you, you know those extras that I said was included with your furniture and whatnot? That's the extra.
But it's not a person there. So she keeps on saying there's no living people here. So it turns out that this girl sitting there is known to as Ryugajo Nanana. And she's a ghost. She's been living there for the past 10 years after being killed in her apartment. So when you have a ghost bound to the room, the rent gets pretty cheap.
Yeah, and it's a nice room. There's internet. There's cable TV, I think. Has all the water fixings and whatnot. The toilet looks nice too. It also has a timer on it, which is interesting. And the one thing that I wondered, you said, how can you sit in a bathroom for almost 2 hours? Dito, I swear you almost did that one year at CES when you're like, I need to go take an Uber poop. And then you disappeared. And all of us were like, where's Dito? I was like, I don't know. He was just gone.
I don't think it was 2 hours.
It felt like 2 hours.
Well, it wasn't 2 hours. But I wasn't sitting there. I wasn't sitting on a John on my phone.
On like Tinder or something.
On Tinder, doing whatever. It's like I'm not sitting on Facebook on my phone trying to figure out stuff. And all of a sudden, it's like my ghost girlfriend thing is in there. It's like, how long are you going to be? Are you okay? It's like, do you have like a hernia or something?
I don't know. It's possible. Anything can happen in Vegas, dude.
Yeah, well, that's true. In this case, whatever happens in Vegas does stay in Vegas.
Yeah. I don't want you to bring that back.
I don't want to bring it back either. It can stay there.
On there, so yeah, there's
a one thing though. There's actually stipulation between Nanana and Jugo, and that's the whole who actually has dominance. Who has dominance in this? Like, who is the leader, like alpha of this apartment? So we have to figure that out by a fight with a ghost.
All no holds bar fighting with a ghost.
Yeah, but you already know that you're already at a disadvantage because she can grab you. You figured this out. She can grab you, but you can't grab her. So what you obviously know that this isn't going to win. So what kind of stipulations would you put to make it sound more enticing for you to actually go through with this?
Well, depends on what kind of hold she is. So she has my arm in a hold, and it's really close
Armbar.
to what we should call God's territory. So let's bring back our question game, Dito. You're in a wrestling match with your ghost's roommate for dominance of the room. Your arm is now locked in God's territory. Your fingers are mere inches away from reaching God's territory. What do you do?
Well,
Do you A, call uncle and give up? Or B, let her let her dislocate your arm, but reach God's territory with your finger? What do you do? Decide.
Rabe. At this game itself, you already know your bones, so might as well cross in God's territory. Why not?
What's a dislocated shoulder? That could get popped back in easily.
Exactly. You'll be down for like maybe a few days, up to a week. You know, it's fine. I can keep my arm in a little brace or whatever for a little while. There's no big deal.
I gotta say, I gotta give Yama some credit for doing that. And you know what's fun about this game that I need to try to do better at keep tracking of is the games that she plays. Because one of the games I saw her playing on her computer is Terraria.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
I was laughing at that too because I was playing that not too long ago. And what another thing was too is she's also playing Starbound.
Yeah, I love it. I love how they put these little Easter eggs in. All right, so you have a ghost living in your room. You probably want to know why, right? So it turns out 10 years ago, what is with 10 years?
I don't know what this 10-year thing is starting to get old.
10 years on there. And we find out that Nanana's, she was murdered in that apartment room and from behind too, so she couldn't really see her killer on there. So part of Yama's Yama's promise to her was to try and find her killer so she can possibly move on, right?
Possibly. I mean, that's because she thinks that's what will work, you know? It's like everyone just seems that because this Nana has been there for what, 10 years, and that means you've had, you know, if you go by the year lease, there's at least 10 different people lived in this apartment at the very least. Well, very most, I should say. And how many of them may have made that promise? I'm going to go and find your killer.
Yeah, on there. So, and then one of the ways to do that is because Nana, what she also did was she loved to play Indiana Jones in real life, like hardcore. Let's go. That belongs in a museum, Dad, kind of stuff. Where
she was an adventurer for all those who don't realize that.
Yeah. And so so what happened is she got all these treasures and she hid them on the island. The island's kind of named after her too, because she was one of 7 super geniuses that put this island together. And she hid them, and they call that Nana's treasure. And there's a club collection, Nana's collection. And there's actually a club called the Adventure Club, and their mission is to go find all these treasures. So Nana's like, well, if you can find these treasures, you might find some clues to find my killer, right? And
well, actually it comes down to saying that if you find a treasure, if you bring it to me, I'll tell you about it.
Yeah. She's pretty much like the NPC in the games where you need to get a known item like ID'd in your RPGs. That's pretty much what she's doing is like, you found silver shard or piece of crap that you spent 20 hours trying to get that gets nerfed in the next update.
Yeah, but then at least she tells you like what its function is, you know, how to use it, and you know what its shortcomings are.
Mm-hmm. So he has to enter into this test because what's a club that doesn't require you to pass some test, right? And so they're in this like classroom that has a treasure chest at the end with lucky 7s all across it. And it's filled with desks and stuff, and the desks configure into this little obstacle course that you get through. And the nice perk about this, well, okay, maybe not a perk, it looks like it hurts, is that if you step on the wrong desk, it opens up and swallows you and shoots you out the side of the school. My question is, how come nobody at the school has noticed that there's a hole that just opens in the side of the school?
Not just that. I mean, we're talking about like, when you pop out of the side of the school, you just figure, okay, you just get thrown in the grass. No, it's like a story to too high.
Yeah, you're like at least on the 3rd floor, and there's only trees around you. That's gotta hurt.
Yeah. And then it's like, then you have to run back up and do it again. It seems like Jugo has done this before.
He knows the parkour. That's my guess. Because they're always like, he knows how to land right. I'm like, parkour. He knows parkour. Right?
Yeah, he has to know parkour. That makes sense.
On there. And then, lo and behold, Tensai Ikkyu, she's like a master detective, and her trap assistant, Daiku Honchiro.
So I want to point this out too, because a lot of people may not have caught on to this too, but her name is Tensai. Actually, that actually translates to genius. Tensai means genius. So I thought that's kind of funny that master detective known as genius, because yeah, I just found that actually quite hilarious in my opinion.
Pretty much female Sherlock Holmes in there. She's like, oh, it's elementary, and they figure out how to get across. I'll have you guys watch the episode to find out to get across. So they're finally inducted into the classroom.
Literally elementary.
Yeah. What I'm worried about is, well, how do you have this test? Should you worry about a test when the president of the club tells you can fail as many times as needed?
Well, considering the fact alone that you get thrown from the 3rd story, I would assume you would only be able to do it a couple times before you break something. But yeah, I get props. They
got advanced medical treatments over there on the island.
Hold on while we put your bone or your femur back together with laser surgery. You know, this may sting
and
a little.
Popsicle sticks, because our kindergartners are doing it.
Yeah. Hold on. We have popsicle sticks and laser surgery. Quantum laser mechanics. Hold on. I got this.
Oh, and then so before we move on, there's one thing that I have to bring up. Nana, she's dead, and the only thing she can eat is pudding. Yeah, she only can eat pudding on there. And I'm a little concerned about this because I don't know where the pudding goes. I can get with the fact that there's a ghost that's haunting a room. I can get a fact that she can have a medical physical presence in the room when she chooses to, but I don't understand where the pudding goes. Does like when she swallows, it gets transported into this in-between dimension that she exists in as a hauntingness, or like where does the pudding go? And she downs it like whole too. So it makes me wonder, is like, if she's not chewing, is it just like the act of eating the pudding that's fulfilling her, or is the actual pudding fulfilling her? I just don't know. I need to know, Nito. Why? Where does the pudding go?
That's KT, and the question of pudding remains.
Yeah. Dude, food issues are important.
Where does the food go? Does it go into a leg? Or does it go into your astrophysical presence?
Yeah, I gotta know. There are just sometimes things are simpler when you try to solve them using games, right, Dito? So let's just jump into our next anime. And our next show is No Game, No Life, and it is brought to you by agreements. Even if it's just a game, you got to hold up both ends of the bargain, win or lose. All right, so we end up into our 2 main characters, which are Sora and Shiro, and pretty much they are deets, but they take gaming to the max level. They are known as blank, like, empty space character on everything, and they're always known to master these games like within a few days, instantly. They're usually ranked top in whatever game. I mean, at the beginning you see like a whole, like thousands of people trying to attack them, and they just own them on there. Not
just that, I mean, like their goal is to never lose, and they've never lost.
Yeah, and
at anything they've ever played.
And they're crazy. They can do like octopus style 4-mouse multi-boxing, or like 8-hand multi-boxing and no sleeping and stuff. They can go like 3-4 days without sleeping. That's
5. Okay, so
tense.
It's like Shiro, Shiro is the younger sister, so she's 11. Sora, which is the older brother, who's 18, and Shiro's up for like 5 days playing these MMOs, all these online games, these player versus player games and stuff. And she finally passes out, so Sora takes up the reins because they're dual boxing. So now he's quad boxing for 6 hours, and then he goes on and plays another game.
Yeah, and then they just decide to go. So and then all of a sudden they get this invitation for the game of chess. You know, the classic game, chess.
Yes.
And they tag team it because one's the tactician and the other one is, better at trying to figure out, risk analysis.
But in most cases, whenever you get an invite to this too, it's just a computer program, just like calculating out how you're going to do to win. Because whenever you get a program like that, it's set to that program. So Sora did realize that it's actually a human playing behind there because it's luring you into a really stupid mistake for you to do.
Yeah. And then so they win it, and
barely.
This message is like, do you want to live in a world that it's different from the world you like? Because the reason why they're neets and shut-ins is because they don't like real life. The rules are sort of defined, but they change, and it's not predictable. Some people would like backstab you at the last moment on there.
Our world is not set in stone. I mean, the rules that we have are very swayed. I mean, there's so much leeway, so it can bend so easily to shape around to whoever is going to be there. But in this case, what if you feel like you're not part of this world? What if you can solve everything by games?
Yeah, so they get transported into the computer like Digimon style on there, and they land in this world called Disboard. Well, not land, they're free falling.
They're skydiving.
Yeah.
They're 1,000 or 10,000 meter skydiving.
Yeah, so they're falling, and they meet the god Tet, and he's like, "Hey, welcome to my world."
I know. So here we go. It's like Tet, this little kid, comes up to him with these 2 crazy eyes, but very cheerful, and says, welcome to Disboard. We have 10 commandments. First commandment: all murder, war, and robbery is forbidden. On
there. So, and then number 2, any conflicts as Dito wrote it, will be resolved through games.
I wasn't watching when I was typing. I was just kind of doing it. Commandment number 3. In those games, each player will wager something that is agreed of equal value.
Rule number 4. As long as you don't break the 3rd rule, you can wager what you want and play any game you want.
Rule number 5. Oh, wait.
Yep.
We're on 5. I can count. Rule number 5. The challenged party has the right to decide on how the game is played.
Then rule number 6. Any and all wagers made in accordance with these commandments must be upheld, so no backsies.
Yes. And Rule 7, whenever a conflict you have with another group will be conducted and by a design representative with absolute authority.
Yes. And then rule number 8, if you're found cheating during a game, you will be disqualified and instantly lose.
Yes. And in Rule 9, in the name of God, the previous rules may never be changed.
And last but not least, remember to have fun, because it's all games.
It's a very fun rules itself, because like according to Rule 6, like the commandments must be upheld. So that means whatever you agree to, they're absolute. There's nothing you can do to go back on these once you have agreed to these rules for the game.
Yeah, and it's great for these two because this is the world they love in. The rules are concrete. There's no gray area for interpretation. It's they know how to do it. They know their confines, and they know how to play and use the rules to their advantage.
Yeah, and I think this is where they do the best on, because you first see them arrive in the world and they get a kind of a history lesson about how this world came to be, because it was complete in war. Because you had different races here, because it's a fantasy world. Yeah, so you have like
you had different gods. You had different races fighting for each, pretty much like our world. Everybody can't be happy and agree with each other, right?
But then there is one god that kind of like stood back from everything itself and then kind of took over a default as the ruler.
And then, everybody else was pretty much mutually assured destruction. They killed each other off. So there's nobody else other than this god who's like, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. So it's Tet. Tet was known as the god of play. So when he took over himself, he made these rules. So that means like all murder, war, and conflict murder, war, and robbery is forbidden, and all conflicts would be resolved through games because, it's why kill each other off? Because
that's stupid.
I know they made bodies, they compiled bodies as high as to the sky.
So, this is the perfect world for there, and since the god was cool enough not to give them anything, they had to go get their own cash on there. So, what's a good game to wager everything that you own on?
Well, in this case, when you're sitting there watching this town that is basically deciding the new king through gambling, so poker in this case would be the best way to do it.
Obviously, why not? Five card draw, I think it was.
It's like one game of 5 card draw. Yeah, yep. So one game of standard poker.
Yeah, I'm not good at poker, so I would never survive in this world because I'm terrible at poker.
But here's the thing, though. It's like this goes upon the rules itself. So that means, Rule 8: if you're caught cheating,
so you have to get caught. So you can cheat as long as you're not caught.
Yeah, so it's like they let you try to cheat, but at the same time too, if you're obviously, if they call you on it and they have to prove it. So that's the thing. You can't just say you're cheating. You have to prove it.
That'd be interesting. I wonder if we're gonna get an episode of people playing Monopoly. That would be like a 6-episode arc, and you're like, oh, they're using house rules. Why aren't they using the official rules?
I know. Then you have the game of life. How do you cheat in the game of life? But it comes down to the fact alone that cheating in a card game is very easy to do, and it's very hard to be caught because how can you prove that you grab like a card at the bottom when you're dealing? It's like you'd have to like have some proof instead of just
you gotta have the eyes. You gotta have sharp eyes to be able to tell.
So when in doubt, if you notice them cheat, why don't you cheat too?
Yeah, we'll play the game, make sure nobody catches it.
But yeah, so if no one can see it, then why not? So the best way to do it's like, okay, flush. You get a straight flush, cool, but that can't beat a straight royal flush, can it?
Well, there's only a 1 in 6 million chance that you're ever gonna get a royal straight flush, right?
Yeah, so let's just throw it out there like there's no big deal.
Let's just do it, right? Yeah. So
not just that too. It's like put it down, and also it just goes like this big, elaborate, like straight royal flush, and just it spans with light. It's like this, just.
So I thought it was that's great for them to kind of get their start. So they get a room and everything, and while they're actually playing this poker game, there's another one going for the kingship. And we have the daughter of the late king, that's
granddaughter,
the granddaughter of the late king that's trying to get it, Dola, and she's playing against
Stephanie Dola.
She's playing against this other player that is like intense and also cheating, but she can't tell because they're cheating using magic, and apparently humans in this world can't tell magic. They're like
they can tell magic, they just can't use it.
So on there, the what's his name, Sora, casually walks by. It's like she's cheating, but he didn't tell her how, and she's like, yeah. So she ends up losing. And what's the best way to do it is show up in their room, right?
Well, it's like they obviously warned her that she's cheating, but then she lost anyway. So might as well blame them because that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, she lost all her clothes too.
She lost everything, so it's not.
She's the naked.
Yeah, she has a sheet to her name.
Yeah, on there. So of course the twins are like, well, if you got beef with us, There's one way we can do it, right, Vito?
Siblings, not twins.
Yeah, the
There's a
siblings.
7-year difference.
Yes, the siblings. There's an easy way to do it in this world, right? Let's play a game, and it's the simple game that we all know, right?
Rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah.
But let's make it like more dynamic, because we can't just say, let's just rock, paper, scissors. Let's say we can only use paper.
Yeah. So no, he only can use paper. Dola can use whatever, because she's like, you have a handicap against me somehow, even though I can't prove it. And it's like, all right, we'll just do this. And then after like 5 minutes of explanations on odds and strategy on there, Dola loses, because apparently she's not good at games. And when they wagered, she would do anything they wanted, or the twins would, or the siblings would do anything that she wanted, right?
Yeah.
So
but the thing was that if they tied, it would be coming down to saying they would do a favor.
Yeah.
So what Stephanie interpreted is that they're just looking for a place to live, but she interpreted it wrong, because they said a favor.
Yes, and the favor was Sora, because he thought this was the most logical thing. Keep in mind, he's still in his teens. He's
18,
like,
virgin.
I want you to fall in love with me. Dun dun dun. And
then you have like Shiro just comes in saying, going like, were you given him by lust?
Yeah, you could have just said that she belongs to you. It's like, oh, baby, I'm sorry, sister, because there's a brother-sister complex going on there too.
Oh yeah, big brother-sister complex, because it's like when Stephanie meets him herself, Shiro is on his lap and just like, he's just like, don't worry, we're siblings, so this is perfectly natural. Yes. And Shiro's just like, brother rejects me.
So, and then we find out that Dola, she's kind of gets treated like crap in this world, and humans in general are treated like crap, to the point that the city that they're in right now is the last big human settlement out there. All the other races have kind of taken over and stuff, because you're playing games and you have to put land on the line, so it's like a giant game of don't get any ideas.
So
I just got ideas. Thanks, Sparky.
So we're good. Yeah. So Sparky told us that don't get any ideas, Katie. So now we're going to try to figure out how to incorporate these 10 commandments into a game between Katie and Sparky. So that means that whatever they agree upon, according to these rules, we're going to have to be upheld by these two.
Yeah.
I think we're going to make this happen.
I need to bring board games. We'll play a game of Munchkin. I'm good at Munchkin. I can rock Munchkin.
Let's just do Cards Against Humanity. It's fun.
And then, so we find out that, one way for Sora and Shiro to kind of find their place in the world is they can fight their way up to becoming king, because they're good at games. They can play this. They know how to use the rules to their advantage on there. And that's where we end off, is he looking off into the sky and like, I'm going to become king and not Batman.
I am Batman. But there's also one thing too. There are 16 races in the world right now itself, and the human race is at the bottom. So I love to see exactly how this is going to take place, because they talk about how elves can use magic, and then you have like elementals who are ranked like number 3. Then you have gods and various things like this too. So it's going to be interesting, like how this magic,
to see this hierarchy work.
Yeah, it's like, if these races can use magic in their own way itself, how are they going to be able to play a game? Because what other games are there out there besides the ones that we commonly know? Like are they going to choose a game that maybe they can't play?
Gonna go play like pool, except with dolphins. I don't even know how that works, but I just said it.
Because dolphin porn.
Yeah. So I'm interested to find out what happens. But you know what's sad, We're at the end of this episode. Dun, dun, dun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed our picks for this season of the Ktdata Anime Podcast. I know we're excited. I just like saying na-na-na all the time.
That's because it's a Japanese Indiana Jones. That's like one of them we got there too. We got a lot of people asking for different stuff too. We got a lot of people asking for Black Bullet, but No Game No Life kind of beat that one out, and so did Na Na Na.
But na, 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 na.
Na, 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 na,
So,
na, 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 na.
If you guys have any inputs about the show, have any feedback, or have any complaints, we'd love to hear back from you. Send us an email at ktdata.net, or you can find us on our social media channels, such as facebook.com/ktdata.net. If you haven't already, please leave a like there. Just press the like button. It's always good.
Just, send a like there self, get our feed on that self, and then interact with us, because we like to post stuff on there, like KT posting about the game review I just did.
Yeah. Or if you don't do the Facebook thing because you don't subscribe to the behemoth of what is Facebook, but you do like the Twitter things, please feel free to follow us on Twitter. I am at Ktdata. Dito over there is at ahoybaby, and you can just follow us and hear our musings today. I put a lot of musings up, or find cool things to talk about. That's always a good place there. If you're like, screw feedback, I don't want a feedback, but I do want to know when the next Kita Anime podcast is, just hit the subscribe button on whatever you're watching this on. Then it will always be delivered to you, and it's all good, right?
Dun dun dun. Speaking of goods too, that's we do have an announcement for right now. So today is the release for Mugen Soul Z by NIS America. If you're ever curious about the new RPG coming out itself, give us a check, or check it out here on ktdata.net, and tell me what you think about it.
Yep, keep an eye on the site. There's always new content. My loot crate is probably on its way, so we'll have a what's in the box coming up soon. I got a whole backlog of stuff I need to publish, so that's all coming to you at ktdata.net. Also, if you want to come watch us live, our next recording is June 3rd, 2014. You can be in the chat room and hear some cool discussions going on while we record. All right.
Or us complaining to one another about stuff too. It's like, check us our pre-show and after shows. We keep them entertaining.
Yeah. And, there's things that will never make it to tape. So, So we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Until then, guys, poop.
Poop. Wait.
Coming up in this episode of the Kita Anime Podcast, time to meet another dad.
Where does all the pudding go?
It's time to start a new quest. Be king. Damn it. Why are these words so hard to say? And I wrote them.
Because dolphin porn.